Hey there, Jax. My name is Dylan Patterson. I'm the Sustainable Landscapes Intern with the Sustainability Office here at IUPUI. Thanks for checking out this video in our Arbor Day celebration series.
Hi, I'm Jesse Beck with IUPUI Campus Facility Service Grounds Department. We're out here talking about some tips on how to properly prune your trees.
Hi, I'm Hillary Cox. I work with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful on the Community Forestry team. I'm out here today with IUPUI Sustainability Department, and we're going to talk about some how-tos and whys of pruning.
So, important thing to consider is proper timing for your pruning. There's certain seasons that are better than others. Right now is not the ideal time of year to prune, with everything kind of flushing out, leafing out, blooming. Then we're kind of doing our demonstration now because it is Earth Month and celebration for Arbor Day. So ideal time for the trees, kind of early summer into the season. You don't want to stop pruning if you're going into like drought situations, because the pruning does cause a little bit of stress to the tree, and that drought will also do the same thing. Another fine time, pruning is getting towards fall, and you can also do dormant pruning in the winter. You just really don't want temperature to be below about 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right, so we're going to talk about some how-tos and whys of pruning. I'm going to start off with 4 main things to look at first in terms of which branches to remove, and we'll talk a little bit about the whys. So pretty easy for me personally to remember. I had a coworker teach me this a while back. 4 letters, 3 D's and a C, and he was joking that that was his high school report card, so it stuck in my head. So dead, diseased, and damaged, and crossing. Those are the key words to remember when you're initially coming up to a tree. Those are the first ones that you're going to remove. So we're going to take a step back and look at this whole tree, and we can see, or I can see, buds on all of these. So I don't see any dead branches, so we can check that one off. And the next one is going to be diseased. So we're going to look a little bit closer, and you can kind of see right here, if you're looking close, that's got a little bit of disease or decay. It's not necessarily hugely detrimental to the tree, but things like that is what we're going to look for. You're going to notice that kind of decay or disease on the outside, on the trunk of the tree. Now the last one is crossing. So up here you can see these branches are crossing. As the tree gets older and bigger, and these branches get bigger, these are going to continue to cross, and they're going to rub, and they're going to rub up on each other, and it's going to cause this kind of decay down here that we don't want. So those are the 4 things that we're going to initially look for. So again, dead, damaged, and diseased, and crossing branches are what we're going to start out with. So I'm just going to go through, and because I didn't see any other decay aside from this, I'm just going to focus on branches that are crossing, and then we'll go from there. So I'm taking out some of the branches that were crossing and rubbing up on each other. You can see here where I made the cut is on the outside of this little ridge right here is the branch collar. We don't want to cut this part of it because that is the healing tissue of the tree. That's going to help it heal from this wound. You can see over here, this is an example of where it was cut, or maybe it broke off or something too far away. So all of this tissue right here is just dead. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of that. If you look closely, you can see what that dead wood looks like in comparison to some of this live tissue, to give you an idea. So I'm just going to keep going through and getting rid of some of the ones that are crossing. One thing I also like to look at too is in comparison to the mulch ring. We don't want things to be too far out or low if there's mowers. So go through and take some of those. Notice that I'm also cutting at a lateral branch or a bud. That is important also for the tree to grow. this one here is kind of growing in towards the tree. Could potentially be a problem. I also like to look at what else is around the tree. So in this particular situation, we have a pedestrian walkway on one side. So anything that's going to be growing out right maybe into somebody's head, or there's not a lot of traffic on this particular spot, but looking at clearance for other cars or anything that might be going by. Trash trucks are usually a big thing. Those are more mature trees that you need to look at. But if you can take care of it, something like that, when the tree is younger, it's better for the tree, easier to heal. Another thing that is important, typically it happens during planting of a tree, is establishing the codominant stem. I'll have Jesse talk a little bit about that.
So another important thing with planting a tree or new trees that have been in the ground is you always want to have a central leader. The central leader is the one continuous branch that will be the top of your tree. The reason you want this is we have, like this tree here, kind of a codominance. They compete with each other and you have a tendency of getting unhealthy growth or lopsided, and this could over time to kind of split away, which in something smaller like this red bud is not big an issue. But if you're thinking about a 80-foot tall oak tree, you don't want something like that to then be a potential hazard. So once you've found that, you want to take the appropriate size tool, whether it be loppers, a handsaw, and make that cut just past the branch color as Hillary mentioned. So looking at this one, we've noticed that that is going to be our central leader. It's a taller, more dominant branch. We'll go ahead and remove this guy. Always use the appropriate size tool. You don't want to use your pruners for something larger than they're made for, because you can actually cause some damage to the tree, and it's not something you want to do. So important thing to consider is proper timing for your pruning. There's certain seasons that are better than others. Right now is not the ideal time of year to prune, with everything kind of flushing out, leafing out, blooming. Then we're kind of doing our demonstration now because it is Earth Month and celebration for Arbor Day. So ideal time for the tree is kind of early summer into the season. You don't want to stop pruning if you're going into like drought situations, because the pruning does cause a little bit of stress to the tree, and that drought will also do the same thing. Another fine time, pruning is getting towards fall, and you can also do dormant pruning in the winter. You just really don't want temperature to be below about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Same thing I'm considering is making sure you use proper pruning techniques, as Hillary mentioned, cutting just past the lateral or outside, just outside the, the branch collar, because that is your tissue that will heal over. Another important thing to consider when doing that is larger one branch, use the proper tool so you don't cause damage. On a very large branch, you'd want to use something called tri-cut method. So you would kind of underscore, make so you don't bring that, cut off your main branch you're going to, and then cut back to that branch collar, wherever your ending point is. Probably with larger cuts, you have a tendency that can kind of fall down and peel the bark away and then causing an injury to the tree.
Hey there, Jags. Thanks for checking out this video in our Arbor Day celebration series. Make sure to follow the Sustainability Office on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at IUPUI Sustain. You'll be able to see some webinars, all of our Earth Month videos, social media takeovers, as well as some sustainability tips and tricks.